This is Jerry and Luke. We're at Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica. What Rythmia is a healing center that uses plant technologies as well as metaphysical teachings and food and spa and massage and everything else to bring about these miracles in people's lives. And Luke is from Truth Theory in England and has come over and has just spent a week with us. And we're honored to have him. He's a tremendous following, and we're glad you're here, Luke. I'm glad you can make it.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate this whole experience, man. It's been something special for sure.
We had a bit of a week here. We had an interesting group. I'd say a group of about 35 people that were from all over the world, all walks of life. And we really had an amazing week. It was a week of healing and craziness.
Yeah.
And craziness.
Yeah, and getting lost and getting found and trying to work out the meaning of life and stuff, thinking I found it, then losing it, then finding it again. It's been like a bit of a labyrinth, to be honest. I think I know what's up now, but we'll see.
There were some questionable moments.
Yeah, for sure. I actually was leaving at one point because I thought, I thought I need to get out, but I got there in the end and it was all beautiful.
Fantastic. The week here is a structured week, and we start out on Monday with some classes, and then have several journeys, and then some breathing exercises. And Luke has been all over, and very much involved in a spiritual community and a spiritual community that's online. How would you describe Truth Theory, Luke?
We're still working on some stuff here, but it's like empowering media, we're trying to bring about honest media that makes people either informed about something that they don't know about, or empowered, or a combination of the two. Media is, to my understanding and what I see, I think media is broken, and we currently have very disempowering media that kind of just fills people with fear, and it's not 100% accurate, I don't think, always. It's like taking a lens and pointing at all the bad shit in the world.
Absolutely.
And saying this is what's going on, and we just want to change that. So we're still growing, and the goal is to have media that is empowering, that is normal. It's normal for media to be empowering instead of all the other news channels which seem to have a specific agenda, trying to remove take the power away from the people. So
Interesting. Yeah. And it's truththeory.com.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we take a look at that. What I found really interesting, and when I knew that Luke was crazy too, was that the way we believe things work at Rythmia is we believe that there's this Vesica Pisces, and that you were born whole, and that you split from it. And one of the signs of that split, the center sign, is an Ankh. And then this guy is eating next to me, and he has one tattooed, and this is before he did any medicine, right? So I'm like, this really has to be the place. This is the guy. And I said to myself, why do you have that? He gave me this explanation. I'm like, oh, it's super cool, right? Of why he has it. And then we've just been going through this thing where again, there's about 35 or 38 people here this week, and they're from all walks of life, which is a normal week for us, from all over the world, which is a normal week for us. And they go through this process. And the process, like Luke said, is kind of finding yourself and losing yourself, and finding yourself and losing yourself, and finding yourself and losing yourself. And today, in our closing group, we had a closing group this morning, and everybody in that group had this miracle happen where they're back together, and that Ankh is the symbolization of it. But when you listen to the stories of what they went through, It's not a pretty. If you take a before and after picture, it looks beautiful. But the middle is fucking rough. It's fucking rough. So I'm so the week was not a great week, and the more that I got to know Luke, without going into a lot of detail about his past, but our lives kind of tracked each other, where we found ourselves in some bad, I'd say bad.
Yeah, I mean, I was
stuff.
Pretty much a bit of work from 18 to younger, 13, 14 to 22. I was just not the best, not doing the best stuff that I should have been doing. I was I always was compassionate and loving and caring for people, but I didn't know how to channel that. So, I'm very sensitive energetically. So sometimes it come out a little bit aggressive, a little bit how I made money was not always the right way to make money, and all that kind of stuff.
Without saying anything incriminating.
Yeah.
The highbrow part of his existence was he was a poker player. Yeah. That was the best part of the whole thing.
That was quite fun that time, actually.
So the rest of it was ordered below that. Yeah. So he was a guy after my own heart, was involved in city life, in things very involved in life. And then something happened. And what was that something that happened?
I just started meditating one day. That was kind of, it was actually because I just couldn't think. I literally couldn't think. I just had so much things that I wanted to do, and I just couldn't think. So I was how do I stop, turn this off a little bit? And because I guess drugs and stuff is you're numbing something, when something's coming through so strong, you're just trying to stop that from coming through. But then when you decide you don't want to do that anymore, it's comes back so strong, So I was how do I slow this down so I can actually lead a productive life, so I can actually take the ideas, because the ideas just flow through me like crazy, which is good, but if you have too many ideas, you can get lost. And if you've got 20 journals full of ideas, the idea is in there, but
you just don't know where.
It's hidden in 2,000 fucking ideas, So so I was kind of need to get focused. I always sense things, but I was if you ask me, do I believe in God, or do I believe in anything like this? It was no, that's it's not real. It's kind of I used to take the piss out of people who were done yoga and stuff like that. I was why are you doing that for? Stupid. And then I started to meditate, and I actually had some very deep experiences very, very quickly
with meditation.
Uh-huh. I used to listen to meditation music, and I would kind of travel, have had a few out of body experiences and all these things, and it was okay, there is actually, this is not just me getting focused, this is I'm experiencing something insane. I had this mad experience where it was my third eye exploded, and there was all these colors, and I actually was just lost in this space for a while. I don't know what was going on. It just kind of went and happened, and after that I was okay, this is serious, And
and then that set the hook.
And I was after that. It's funny because I left school early, and I just wasn't really interested in education. But then I realized there's a difference between school and education, So once I started having these experiences, I started picking up books and started reading and started going through and listening to teachers and really kind of trying to figure out what's going on, and kind of open this box,
and from that box that you opened, you're now some months 3 million people are checking out your stuff, right? The big box.
It was an insane transition from the last few years. I spent a lot of time working and not getting paid for it. I spent a ton of time trying to build up what I'm doing and stuff. And it was to the point where I almost quit a few times. I would do this thing. I've done it 5 or 6 times where I would go, that's it, I'm done, and I would look on job websites and start looking up, and I could get this job. It actually pays quite well, I'm qualified to do that with all the stuff that I've learned, if I can convince them, blah, blah, blah. And I'd do it, and then the next morning I'd wake up and I'd go, I'd close all the tabs on my laptop,
Isn't that a beautiful lesson for everybody that success is what happens right after you decide not to quit. So like right when everything, and that's the same in the spiritual pursuit, in a business, in a job, in a whatever, like stuff gets good right after the part that you're supposed to quit at. It's a couple more steps.
After like the 7th or 8th midlife crisis, I think that's when it starts to like. I'm still having them now every couple of months or so.
I love it. I am too. Don't think you're alone, right? But it was so interesting to see this week what happens and like, you know, this guy's done a lot of spiritual work. He's been around, and when you see these people come in and they may have done medicine before, like Luke did medicine before, and when he saw this thing, he goes like, this probably is mine. This isn't really how this is supposed to be done, right?
I mean, it was funny actually. Like one of my intentions was to work on my judgments, and I did have some judgments coming here because it's not the world I'm used to, you know, to a certain extent. So like I came here and I was like it's different. It's quite like luxurious here, and it's like nice. And the last time I went, like we was in the jungle, like, you know,
with the scorpions in your bed.
Like in you know, bucket showers and all this kind of stuff. But I actually love all that. You know, that's amazing for me. I like that experience was like incredible. But this is like the polar opposite of that. So when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I'm not sure that that's the way it's been. And to be honest, like midway through the week, I'm still not sure. But then when I saw like what happens to some people here, it was like, it's hard to explain. Like when you see people like next to you going through this like miraculous process, you know, like from start to finish, like I realized that this place is catering to a different audience, and every audience needs to be taken care of. Like if we want a change to happen in the world, some people like one thing, some people like another thing. Doesn't mean one thing's right and one thing's wrong. It just means that like we need to be tolerant and accepting of all the different ways of doing things, you know. And yeah, seeing the transformations of all these people was like really kind of like this morning in the what was it?
The
closing thing, man. That was like everyone was crying, and like it was just like, man, this is Jesus-y. This is like super Jesus-y.
It's a weird place. It's a weird place. But the funniest is there was a guy there that owned a pizzeria who like honestly was like as tough as tough. Yeah. Like he could have been in Goodfellas. Yeah. Like it's really, really, and to see this guy have a change and reconnect with his soul, and to see everybody reconnected with their soul, and to see Luke and you know, Luke's been involved with conventional medicine, jungle environment, and to see him come here and then to have the experience that you had. I was worried because I thought, oh, this guy's an ayahuasca purist, and he's going to stick to his knitting, and this is not what he wanted. But then to see you crack, and if you don't mind talking about it, you cracked open.
Yeah, man, that was like the most intense. Like I can't say that, like that because it was Youre, right? Youre is like a different way. Like for everyone, I didn't know about that before, but it's. You probably know more about it. It's produced in a different way, right?
It's produced in
the same thing.
It's the same thing, but it uses most of what you've been drinking before. Yeah. Uses dried components. Yeah. And Youre uses fresh components. That's why it tastes so good.
Yeah. So I was actually quite pleasantly surprised. Everyone just was like, it's going to be the most horrible thing, but it just kind of tasted like ayahuasca to me, which doesn't taste nice anyway. But you know, I think that's part of the. It's like an ordeal. Even drinking it, you're like, oh my god.
Jeez, the thought of it makes me go to the bathroom.
But what's interesting is with these experiences, I usually this is just the way I experience it. I know everyone experiences it very differently, but within like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I'm usually like deep in journey and like having this really kind of intense experience. So with this Youre, I expected it to kind of be the same. I drank it. 2 hours later, I was just having really mild visuals, like I was in deep meditation. And I went up to the shaman. I was like, yes, I said, it's beautiful, it's nice, but it's very mild. And he's like, okay, shh. And he gave me quite a big cup after that. And I drank that cup. And yeah, I went to another place. yeah, like, and it was real intense. Like it was traumatic, to be fair. Like, it was really like all these lives and all these experiences and everything, like in one. It was just like all happening at the same time. I was experiencing everything, like how we are, everything. I forgot what time was. I couldn't actually, I had to rebuild time. I had to restructure. I was like, I can't get out of this unless I rebuild time, you know. So having this thing.
I gotta tell you that you don't know, and I didn't say anything. But are you working on a contract of some type? Because you were saying, I can't get out of the contract. I can't get out of the contract.
Yeah,
you were saying that.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were on a business thing.
No, it's kind of like a spiritual thing. Like I have this thing that I don't like to make certain agreements and things with, like, spirit, you know, I kind of like, so that's what the contract thing was like. I was kind of saying, like, because I was so lost, I was like, I'm not, because I felt like I was doing something to the universe. I thought I broke it. I thought I broke the universe, basically, and I was like, no, like, I was calling on angels and stuff to that. I was like, please don't let me break the universe. It's not fair on everyone.
So this is the craziest thing. So I call up and I'm like, I call the front desk in the morning because I didn't do ceremony because I was doing a bunch of other stuff and I'm usually in ceremony, but I didn't. But I was worried about him. So I'm like, because he's a big deal to us, right? He's a big community. So I'm like, hey, I called the front desk and said, where's Luke? And I know, how's Luke? And they say, Luke who? I'm like, Luke. And they say, he's not here. I said, well, he started out there. He started out there. They said, he's AWOL. Yeah. I'm like, I went up here. I said, where is he? And I found you. We're at the front desk. And you're like,
the bags. And I was like, I'm going. I'm done. Because this medicine really, like, it does something, you know, but there was this freedom. I was like, I'm leaving, and that road's long, man. It's like, what, 100 miles or something. I was like ready to go and walk down that road, and I got to the outside, and I was like, whoa, like I started seeing people, like, you know, driving past and stuff, and I was like, shit, man, I'm not safe anywhere, you know. And it was, it was like an ordeal, you know, that I had to kind of really go through, and then I finally came back to the ceremony and I was like, oh no, they had, like, because that was it. I asked one of the shaman for help. I was like, you need to help me get out of this. I'm stuck. You need to get out. And he went to give me water and I was like, I'm not drinking that shit. I don't know what you're giving me, you know? So it was kind of like, real interesting experience.
And then what was even crazier is that, well, then when I saw you later in the day, you were beaming like the happiest face I've ever seen. But what was crazy, I spoke to the provider, to the shaman, and he said, hey, dude, it was a great night. Everybody had a great night. And we had an alien with us. Yeah. And I'm like, who's he talking about? Like, I was maybe talking about you. Like, have an alien with you? And he's like, no, we really have. We have an alien who sat outside the whole time. And I figured, hey, you know, he drank a lot of your hand, so that's what he saw. God bless him. Yeah. And then I hear from about 10 other people that there was an alien right there the whole night. Yeah.
I didn't personally see it, but a lot of people did see it. But I felt that like it would, like, I don't know how to wrap my head around that thing, because ultimately feel like I've seen a lot of shit, like, you know, in recent times, but like that actually happened, and it's like everyone's saying it, you know. It's like it doesn't just work on this hallucinogenic level. It's like you're actually accessing different
realms. And things are present in those
times and spaces, and it's like, it's just it's insanity, but it's not actually insanity. It's insanity. It's like reality, but we just don't know what reality is.
And the thing was, your experience of starting on Monday and then boom, down low, and then coming back up is the exact same experience that everybody else has here. So like the when you saw that group today and you saw these people crying and not wanting to leave, and like all reconnected with their soul, and when I explained that on Monday, some of those people, that's the first time they ever heard anything even remotely close to that. 80% of them never drank medicine before. And they went through this thing of losing themselves and finding themselves. They're beat up. By Wednesday, people are crying, wanting to get out. you're an experienced guy, and you're like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
And then to see everybody today, and to see the miracles, and to know that really is happening. And this is here's the crazy thing for me. Every Wednesday, the people convince me that it ain't happening.
Yeah.
So by Wednesday, I'm thinking, oh shit, this isn't going to pan out.
Yeah.
And then every Saturday, everybody's crying, not wanting to go, having gotten their miracle, and having been in love. And here's the crazy thing that happens here, and I know that it happens other places, but because a certain type of soul is called in here, the bond that's formed in that group is kind of strange, right? How tight.
I've met some people like past life stuff, and kind of like just knowing,
just knowing you're gonna know them.
Yeah,
you're gonna know them.
I already know them. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I was like, this is like a different way of like friendship from what we know and what we're used to. It's like you can meet instantaneously and you just know someone. And I've been getting that a lot recently, like some of the people who I'm closest with, I haven't known very long, and I'm close with them.
I want to re-say what you said. So what's crazy when you throw in the medicine is that some of the people who you've known a long time, you realize you don't know.
Yeah. And
some people who you just meet, you're like, holy shit, I know. And then you go in the medicine and it shows you a couple lifetimes ago. Then you come back here and you're all weirded out by the guy. You're like, I know how I know.
You killed me in a past life.
You killed me in a past. That's the craziest stuff.
Knew I didn't like you.
Isn't that crazy? Oh my God. What a crazy place. So look, like for your people, for your following, so many people are called to do different things. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many people now that are called into just like, okay, let's do yoga. And so many people, I believe, are doing yoga for the wrong reason. Mm-hmm. Like the result is great, the reason behind it's wrong. Mm-hmm. Now the same thing's happening like in the medicine community, that so many people are coming into the medicine. Yeah. And I just want to say, and I believe you'll agree with this, that it's not something to take lightly. No. That this is hard ass work.
Yeah, it's you can get lost, like it's really like has to be come out like in a respectful way and in an open way, and I think you have to be pretty like grounded, or be in a space where you can ground and people can help you. You have to be careful where you go, for this kind of stuff. Like the places that I've been to have been beautiful and amazing, and it's like you have to be careful, because it's not a mushroom, and a mushroom can send you to another
bad places too.
But this is like you're actually. I only come from my understanding of things, I don't claim to like be an expert or know everything about it, but you can get involved in deals and stuff, and you're actually, to my understanding, in spirit world, it's not a projection or a hallucination.
No, you're actually in spirit world.
And you meet things and people and stuff, within that space, and it's. Your intentions definitely show up, and you have to kind of protect yourself. And this does open a box, and it's kind of like a box that you can't close, So you have to be sure you want to look inside the box.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you want to make sure you're ready to open your box.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Did you feel safe and supportive here?
Yeah, I mean, apart from when I've had the bags packed and walking out.
Apart from that one little thing.
Yeah, but the shaman was awesome, he after we spoke about it, and they definitely helped me, they helped me come back, but I don't know if everyone gets there specifically, but I was lost, and they helped me to. So
like in that whole night with the 30-some, you had a little thing where you got out and came back in, simple stuff, right? Somebody else did. But the majority seem to stay in the container. Yeah. But we pride ourselves on making it a super, super safe and comfortable place. Did you feel comfortable?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
It was guided, you know. It was definitely. It's like you can see the structure of it. You can. I don't know. I just see things in numbers. I always see things in numbers, but I can almost see like this place has a specific code, you know, and that code is like to take people safely by the hand. And I guess that's what I got here is it's very your hand is held, and and you are like guided through it, you know. Like other places, they allow you to go through your own process, which I respect as well as a way, as long as it's in, like safe, you know. But yeah, it's very much a guided process, and there's a lot to do. And there's here, you know, you're taken care of. You don't need to. You can go and get your meals. Everyone's cool. All the staff are accessible. It's just, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. And in the future, with the way that you see places like this, like when you look at England, you look at the States, you look at Canada, and you see all of this unrest, and how do you see places like this and places like it impacting all that?
It's interesting. Something that come up for me in ceremony is I'm not saying there's 4 things, but 3 things come to me, and then before we were having a conversation, and the 4th thing comes to me that I feel like is important to move society forward. One is media, and that's kind of what I'm trying to build, you know, a lot of other people are trying to build. One is education, you know, because it gets people from a very young age to learn that, you know, we can learn a different way. Like I feel like we're learning subjects to cater to the 9 to 5, and it's not to empower a person, you know. So I feel like education that's empowering, media that's empowering. I think music plays a very, very important role in everything that we're doing. You know, like people need good, empowering music that's out there, because the way that the system is set up, media's controlled, music's controlled, all these things are controlled. And the last thing that comes to me a little while ago is we need healing, you know. And maybe in the future we won't need healing if we can empower all these
rest
things
of the things
in a different way. You know?
Yeah.
But at the moment we're fucked. So you know, we kind of like. I feel like we hold trauma physically within our bodies, and some of the purges I had were like, at one point, like, and this might sound strange for people who have not experienced this, but I had shoulder pain, and I moved and turned and done this thing, and I vomited out the shoulder pain, you know, like the shoulder, and it's gone now.
But
you know,
explaining that to someone is crazy. So like the thing is like, it just sounds crazy. Like
my thing cut out.
That's okay.
Now we've got this.
So we have this really super tall dude here that he's just this wonderful guy who's a returning guest, and he had come last year and he came back this year with his wife, and he was praying to God to let him let go. And when he threw up, like the whole place almost exploded. Like and the interesting thing is that while he was throwing up, he would see exactly what he's thrown up. And I don't mean like that's a carrot and that's a piece of cheese. And I don't mean that. I mean throwing up a lie that I told about myself, and throwing up a pain that I had when I was a child. And if this Sign of Pisces thing, which is this crazy triple circles thing that we got under plant guidance, that when you're in the middle, when you reunite with your soul and you're in that middle, that your body naturally wants to heal itself, so you can heal completely on fruits and vegetables. But sometimes there's some damage that's done for the past 40 years of being apart. And the medicine actually comes in and performs something called sacred surgery. And in that group today, Luke, you saw more than 2/3 of the people, when I said who had surgery, raised their hands. That the medicine actually comes in, and in many cases asks your permission, either verbally or otherwise asks your permission for it to come in, and comes in and goes into parts of your body and stirs shit up, and you puke it out. And it's pain, and like real pain, like pain, right?
Yeah. Some of it's almost like acidic and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like
sizzling.
Yeah, it's just like, what the hell was that in me? Where did that come from?
Stuff, right?
Yes, it's a ride.
Yeah. So another successful thing, and I want to tell you, dude, I was so happy to meet you.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw you pumped up and look at this one here,
Nice.
as soon as I saw him, I was like, this is my brother. He's in it. And but just to have you and to be able to show your community that there's all levels of this thing. You know, a lot of people want to go to Peru. They want to lay in the jungle. They're not afraid.
Yeah.
They're not bug sensitive. There's none. And there's that whole group, and then there's a whole nother group that want it done in a particular way.
Yeah.
And our way of this thing, you've seen the results.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's the craziest place on earth.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you, brother, for coming. And thanks for having the guts to stay.
Yeah.
I went up there and chatted with you for a minute, and you were like this, and you were like this. You ain't motherfucking here. And next thing you know, I saw you up there.
But you guys, to be fair, you guys didn't let me leave, but that would have been very irresponsible if people had actually let me walk down the road and no, you got to come back, And I was like, no, I'm not coming back, And it's like, you actually have to, because serving is not closed and you might get lost out there, kind of thing.
So crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And so good to see you look like, when you got here, you look like a normal business guy. You were, worried and, just normal life stuff, business and all these things going on. And you're going home to the full thing,
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful and feel blessed that you were here. Let's see if there's some questions here.
Everyone at Rythmia is an alien.
That's quite true. They must know us. Let's see. Hi guys, a lot of highs. So because let's see.
Jennifer. Yo, Jennifer.
Do you know Jennifer?
I know Jennifer. Yeah.
Jen, yeah. Hey, Jen, how are you? Because there's a lot of comments, there's a lot going on there. We'll probably answer them after we're done. But again, I want to thank you, brother, for coming. Thank you for being here. Thanks for staying.
Yeah.
Thanks for having fun. It was, at the end of the day, where can you have this kind of?
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Peace and blessings. Till next week. We'll talk to you guys then. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Peace.